Deepa, what is the ideal time in the year to hold a student-led conference, and children from which grades generally participate in this process?
So in my experience, I feel that to hold an SLC, it is always good to hold it at the end of the year so that the child has enough evidences and work samples to show his or her growth. We ideally introduce SLC from K1 onwards because that is the time where the child has started becoming independent. He takes the feedback positively, he can work on it, he starts looking at his own work and start editing it. So and again he is also able to express himself well.
What kind of setting would you recommend for conducting a SLC?
Always conduct the SLC in a well ventilated, calm, quiet place because it's very important because the child is sharing his or her own journey. It should be an undisturbed area. You can have it in the classroom also or in an open area.
How should a teacher plan for an SLC?
The teacher is an ally and helps the students for the SLC. Preparation for the SLC ideally starts 2 weeks in advance. It starts from revisiting, that is the students pause and recall all the concepts and experiences done through the year. And then the teacher and the students co-create the criteria for selecting the work samples for the portfolio. Once the co-creation is done, the teacher can sit with the child and help them articulate the reasons for their choice. A good strategy also would be that the teacher can have a buddy with the children where they can have a mock presentation so that the child is able to practice and put forth his points. For the SLC, it is always good to welcome the parents with a performance and yes, don't forget to document it.
What could be the criteria for selecting the work to be included in the SLC portfolio?
The choice entirely depends on the students. Then only there will be a sense of ownership. Of course, the student can then sit with the teacher and select some of the samples which shows the development of not only the content but the character as well. He would also choose some of the samples which would have some encouraging comments from the teacher or a smiley, or he might choose some samples of writing, posters, some presentations, some art related thing, some community related work, or something which stood out and has a strong memory.
Deepa, tell me what would be the best way to orient the parents and encourage their participation in the SLC?
Send the SLC invites a week in advance and send the reminder a day before. Parents, believe me, love to see the invites designed by their own children. When the parents are on campus, welcome them and start a conversation explaining them about the purpose of the SLC, the process of compiling the portfolio, a few aha moments which you would have come across with the child when you were making the portfolios. Always encourage them to support their children, to listen to them, to ask meaningful questions so that the child is comfortable sharing his or her own journey and can share it enthusiastically. It's always good for the teacher to be around during SLC so that she can advise the parents not to compare their children or not to overhear the conversations of other children with their parents. Remember to close the loop with the parents and ask them some of the stories which would have emerged, which the parents were not expecting and was a pleasant surprise for them.
Can you share 3 most important tips for a school holding a SLC for the first time?
Sure. First, I would say that transfer the complete ownership to the students so that they can take the charge of their own learning. Give them choice and voice for selecting their own samples. Start collating the work samples right from the beginning of the academic year so as to avoid any rush and struggles by the year end. Last but not the least is just space them in the room so as to they are not too close to each other and they can have that sacred time with the children without any disturbance.